I, for so long, was scared to shift in my feminine energy because I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to do anything. I have big goals, big dreams. And my process is about being grounded in your masculine energy. We need our head, we need our logic, got to make sure our heads are screwed on. And then to lead with your feminine energy so that you are in flow. You are a woman who is confident. You are a woman who is being in her vibrations.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Hi, Be It Babe. Well, I'm really excited for you to be here today. First of all, I'm just always excited for you to be here. Thank you for letting me have time in your ears. And if you're watching this on YouTube podcast, then thanks for letting me have time with you in general. We had a lot of people getting really interested in feminine and masculine energies when we had Kelly Adami on. And I wanted to continue that conversation and have a different perspective on the feminine energies from someone who does it outside of relationship, does it more within yourself and within your work. And so when I found our guest today, I was just really excited because I think it can be really interesting to, especially because I know so many of you are, in your own business or you want to. And it's like, how do I receive and also get my job done? So I have Mary on today. I'm really excited for you to hear her story. We talk a lot about journeying and reflecting on yourself, and also different exercises you can take to discover your values. And we use some examples about relationships, but I think these are all things you can use in your regular life. And I really enjoyed her Be It Action Item. I think it's super fun to do. And also you have an exercise you can do in there that will help you understand like what your obstacles are. So here is Mary McMonagle. Hey, Be It Babe. Well, welcome back. I'm so excited to talk to our guest today. I've been listening to her podcast this whole week, and I just think you'll love her and what she has to say. And she's just a true human. So Mary McMonagle is our guest today. I'm going to hope I said that name correctly. And I would love for you to tell everyone who you are and what you rock at.
Hey, Lesley. Hey, everyone. Yeah, you said it perfect. My name is Mary McMonagle. I am from New Jersey. I live at the Jersey Shore. I am a feminine embodiment coach. So I work with women who are in their masculine energy, meaning you are the go-getter, the achiever. You like to be in control. You like to do things your own way. And I help them to shift into their feminine energy so that they can lead with their heart and soften and be vulnerable, speak their truth. And my process is around that. It's important because we need both. I, for so long, was scared to shift in my feminine energy because I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to do anything. I have big goals, big dreams. And my process is about being grounded in your masculine energy. We need our head, we need our logic, got to make sure our heads are screwed on. And then to lead with your feminine energy so that you are in flow. You are a woman who is confident. You are a woman who is being in her vibration. So that's a little bit about me and what I do.
That's so cool. I think we've had a couple episodes on masculine and feminine energy because some people feel like you have to do one or the other and they don't realize you embody both throughout the day. And it's like really being able to tap into the energy that's going to best serve you in that moment. And I do think like, especially a lot of people who listen here, they work for themselves. They take care of everyone at home. It can be really hard for them to even understand how to have time to be in their feminine, like how do you even like not do the actionable stuff? And I think the misconception is that like feminine energy is not actionable when it actually is quite.
Yes. Yeah. If I had people in my past version of myself tell me, oh, you just need to take a rest day. And I would get pissed off. I'm like, well, one, don't tell me what to do. And not because I'm like, who's going to get all these things done? So, if you're listening to this, that's not what feminine energy is about. It's yes, rest days are a tool, but you'll hear me share. I mean, my beliefs on feminine energy, it's not journaling. It's not yoga. It's not rest days. That's not being in your feminine energy. That is a practice and a tool to guide you into feminine energy. But I come about feminine energy as it's a place of who you are being. And a lot of us, we end up shifting into becoming someone who is a woman who is more gentle with herself, a woman who is more patient, more understanding. So yeah, that's my unique stance on, especially with feminine energy, because again, I was someone who was very much in my masculine.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how, because I mean, like, I don't think you probably weren't born and your first job was coaching people on feminine energy. So like how did you get to here and like what drew you into this? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure it's also not the easiest thing to say you coach on. I'm sure people are like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I would love the steps, please. Tell me action step 1, 2, and 3. So what was the before Mary and how did you get here?
Oh, all the time. So I got here because I got to a place that I said, enough is enough. If you're listening to this, if you've ever said that, you know that feeling and it does not feel good. And so for me, I got here from a place of constantly feeling like I was battling the people around me, family, society, because I was different. And, just like you pointed out, Lesley, like, oh, that's a little bit different of, what you're doing as most of us, right? And I always felt like I was battling everyone because I always chose to pave my own path. Before Lesley and I hit record, we were talking about Vegas. And at one point I lived there because I chose that I was not in my purpose. I was not headed towards alignment of who I was supposed to become. I was in grad school and I dropped out so I could move to Las Vegas to become a yoga teacher and see where life took me. And so fast forward, I always felt like it was me against the world. And I got to a place where I said, enough is enough. What do I need to change? This is one of my techniques and processes, which is called holding up the mirror. And I'm holding up the mirror to the 3 main areas of my life, which is love, career, friendships, and how is that reflecting anything within me? And a big part of why I'm so passionate about the work that I do was specifically with love. I was attracting a lot of emotionally unavailable men. I was attracting a lot of men who would ghost me. I was attracting a lot of men who would hit it and quit it, let's say. And that's because I abandoned myself. I didn't fully love myself. I was saying, oh, I'm okay with just being like whatever you want me to be. And I had no sense of self-worth, no sense of self-confidence, no sense of self-love. And so through doing my own healing, I got into this place where it completely changed my life, where now I have my values, my standards, and I know as a woman who I am, granted, I'm always learning more and more about myself. And so what the big piece into doing this work was the feminine energy, because one, my masculine energy, and if you're listening to this, a way to start to shift into your feminine energy is to examine your masculine energy first, because our masculine energy is protecting us, is trying to lead us, but often it's from an unhealed place that we don't feel safe within ourselves. Our masculine energy is a big piece on safety. So I first had to feel safe within myself. So then you can ease your way into your feminine energy, which is self-expression and being vulnerable. And so throughout my own journey, I was able to really see the powerful effects of being in your feminine energy and how that has been able to guide me into my life's purpose. It's been able to bring me more business. It's been able to bring me fulfilling relationships.
That's so cool. I haven't heard about it like that, where you like examine the masculine and kind of like understand like who you are being there. I also think it's very interesting. I have a girlfriend who she's doing some life transitions and she's also like spending time, as she like tries that different relationship, she's like evaluating herself and how she is acting in that, because I think it's so easy for us to go, they didn't value me. They didn't do this. And I really appreciate you're like, oh, they were being themselves. I wasn't valuing myself enough to attract someone else. We try to like change the other person versus like realize like how we are being in a relationship and like we can change ourselves and then attract a different type of person. So that's, so it's just a very interesting way to go about it, because it's so easy to to blame other people versus like examining the action steps you took to be where you are. I really want to highlight, like you talked about the tools to being in your feminine, but not how, like that's not actually being in your
Yeah.
feminine. Because I do think a lot of people go, I'm doing all the things, ladies.
Yes.
I am doing the meditation. I am doing
Yes.
the mantras. I'm doing the
Yeah.
affirmations. I am going to the yoga. I'm wearing a dress. Like, like I don't know. Like they're doing all the things. And I think it's interesting because just because you're using all the tools doesn't mean you're getting there. And I wonder like where the disconnect might be. If like everyone's, it's almost like the doing of all the tools is just more masculinity.
Yes. Yes, exactly that, Lesley. That's one of the things that I say is a lot of us are going about trying to shift into our feminine energy from a masculine way. Even heck, self-development, personal growth. We're like, let me read all the books. Let me do all these things. And so how I describe to shift into your feminine energy, one, the masculine is doing and the feminine energy is being. So it's important to get really clear on who you want to be. But before we even go there, let's look at what you even think feminine energy is, because it's exactly as Lesley described it. My beliefs around feminine energy, I thought feminine energy was being lazy. I thought being in your feminine energy was you being a damsel in distress, waiting for a man to come save you. And so one, start to think of what your beliefs are around feminine energy, and then focus on what will be your values around feminine energy, meaning focus on the being. So if you're a business owner or a mom, who are you being? Right? You're not the business owner, you're not the mom, but what is your vibrational frequency? My being in my feminine energy is I come from a place of love. I come from a place of that I really allow myself to be a safe space for someone to come to me and be vulnerable. So that's my being. So what was a big part of me having to work on with my feminine energy? Being vulnerable, feeling with my emotions. If I felt like I was going to cry, Lesley, I would bite my tongue because I didn't want to cry and I didn't want to seem weak. But my being is someone who wanted to be a safe person for someone, but I'm not being a safe person for myself. And then it goes back to the love. My being is, when I'm in my feminine energy, I'm being a place of love. So, well, what do you need to do? You need to make sure you're filling up your cup first, right? We all know that phrase, but it is so important to come from a place of love. So then I can give that. So what I would open up for your listeners is to let go of the title, let go of the mom, let go of the business owner, wife, single woman, etc. Who do you want to be? And what is that vibrational frequency? And ask yourself, are you giving that? Are you allowing yourself to receive that first?
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. If I'm in my feminine energy, what is that vibration? What is that energy? What is that, or value? I like that you use that word because I think vibration, people are like, I don't even know. Like that's a double woo. Girls, not the vibration. How are you vibrating?
Yeah.
Like, but if you think of like, what are your values? And if you're asking yourself, okay, if I embody these values, what does that mean? How am I treating myself first? Like, how am I that so that I can reflect those values at other people? You can be, if you want to have love, but you don't love yourself, people are not going to actually receive the love that you're giving. It's not something that I find people can go, they don't love themselves. That's why their love is weird. They're just like, there's something fake. There's something off. There's something like not congruent. Those things. And it's because it's coming from someone who hasn't yet done it for themselves yet. So you have to be that value in you. And then it will shine through in the actions that you take. And even in action, even in the feminine energy. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yes, exactly that. It's like if you are a health coach and you're telling your client that food is important and what you eat, but then you're going and getting fast food every single day, there's that misalignment. Right. And we can definitely, as humans, until we do this work, we seek things outwardly from other people. So a lot of us, including myself, I was seeking a validation from men. Why? Because I didn't get validation from my father. And why? That is because my masculine wound with it. Well, I shouldn't say why, but what did that create within me? That created a deep masculine wound So yeah, it goes really deep, but I love how you reflected that back, because it is just so important to really look at your values and ask yourself, are you being that? Because if you're not being it, you're not going to receive it. Or when you do receive it, if you haven't embodied it, you won't feel worthy enough to keep it.
Yeah. I have a question for you. And if you don't have an exercise for this, no worries. Like it's just coming up. I remember people saying like, what are your values for your business? What are your values? You should have like, and it should be like 3 to 5.
Yeah.
You don't have too many because you won't remember them. And I totally agree there. But I was like, well, how do I know my values? Like, does that, and I laugh a little bit because it's like, it sounds a little silly to say it out loud, but also if you've never done the action, like never done the exercise of like really looking at what your values are, what you think, because it's not like there are certain values that I agree we should all like care for other people and all that stuff, but also like, what are your personal values that you live your life by? How did you discover yours? Or do you have suggestions for how people can like kind of try their own on?
Such a great question. I love that. So oftentimes we figure out what our values are by identifying what we don't want. And a past version of myself, I said, okay, I don't want a man who can't provide for me, who's not going to plan the dates. Why? Because I experienced that and I didn't like that. But I think a lot of times, including myself, I've been there, we can get stuck in this pain. We can get stuck in this is what I don't want. This is what I experience. And it's important to look at the pleasure. And the pleasure is the opposite side of that. So that is our values. So maybe for me, when I was experiencing, I don't want a man where I'm going to have to plan all the dates. I'm going to have to pay for everything. So for me, the opposite of that was, okay, I want a man who is going to provide, who is going to lead. And then deeper in that, ask yourself, well, why is this important to me? Why is that important to me? And that is important to me because it also allows me to feel safe. It allows me to relax. It allows me to let go of control, which is again me allowing to be in my feminine energy. So a big piece in identifying your values is, okay, think about what you want, what you've experienced that you don't want to experience again. That's your pain, but then move towards the pleasure and look at your list of values. And then again, ask yourself, identify, okay, am I embodying that? A big piece of my values is, at least for what I want to receive in a man, is a man who is secure within himself. He is emotionally available. So, and I have a pattern. Again, this isn't as tangible, but start to notice what patterns you have within yourself, aka what are you frequently attracting in your life? And this could be, these patterns show up in different ways. So you might have a pattern of receiving a lot of money and doing really well in your business, and then you might have a lot of slow months. To me, that's a pattern of you have yet to feel worthy to hold on to that money and to feel safe with money. I have a pattern where I would attract emotionally unavailable men because me as the healer, the coach, I'm like, oh, let me fix you. Let me show you I'm powerful.
Yeah.
So for me, a big value is, okay, this man is emotionally available, and not meaning that he has to be my coach or healer, but I can be vulnerable and express myself.
Since we're talking a little bit about dating, the best advice I've ever given when I was single, there's a couple pieces of advice that were like just stellar. One was how red is his flag. Because my therapist was like, there was red flags at the beginning of the relationship that you ignored. So you need to go back and reflect and like think about each date and think about the red flag and think about why you ignored it so that you can spot it as you're dating. And so you don't repeat, because like I was dating the same person, just a different looking person, but like the same type of person. So that was one piece of advice that was really, really great. And it allowed me to understand it's another way of looking at values. It's like, what do I need out of a relationship? Oh, that's a red flag for me. And instead of running away and just like going, you're out of here, I could actually go, what you just said, that like makes my like, just makes me like peek up a little bit and go, So you explore, can you tell me a little bit more what you mean by that word that you just said? And it is at the very least educational and informative for them. And also it like time saver for me. The other piece of advice, and just to go back to like, you don't want to coach them. I was working with this trainer. My now husband had texted me about like his yoga practice. I'm a Pilates instructor. And he said, if you want this guy to date you, you are not allowed to teach him how to do the thing he struggles with in yoga. You can go to yoga with him, but you
Yes.
don't teach him.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I have a lot of powerful women as best friends in my life. And they are just like, they are amazing at what they do. They're even great at being in their energies, like feminine, like they can navigate really well. And they had partners who like just didn't grow with them. And now that they're out there dating, they've been on some dates where people have said some things and they just were like, just so you know, I'm here to listen to your problem. But as a coach, I don't want to coach you because it's not sexy. It's not attractive to me. And so I think what's really cool, everyone who's listening, whether you're in a relationship or wanting to be in one, is just reflecting that just because you are something in the world and you can be famous and known for it, doesn't mean you have to be that in the relationship. And that being that in the relationship is what's taking you out of your feminine to be able to receive anything amazing from that relationship.
Yes. I love that, because adding on to that, it's like, if you look at the yin and the yang, you are taking up all of the yang. You're not allowing there to be any yin. So how I do view this work, which is important because I think there's a lot of people out there who talk about feminine energy and don't really understand the roots of it. I come from a rooted place of evolutionary psychology. So, and let's continue with this relationship example. Based off evolutionary psychology, men, they are the leaders, the protectors. They want to be in charge. And us women, we are the nurturers. We're caring, we're softening. But that doesn't mean that we can't be boss ass bitches over here and get stuff done. So with your example, Lesley, it's if you're showing a man, oh, here, let me show you how to do this yoga pose. Often we then switch roles because you're then coming from a place of mothering. Oh, here, honey, let me show you how to do this. And I know this because I used to be a mom to so many men. It's crazy. So, and this is important to look at in your life is, okay, where am I being a little bit mothering? Because, and especially with men, you might say, oh, I could show you how to do this pose. But for men, it isn't based off of evolutionary psychology, based off of the way their bodies are designed and function. It's important for them to be able to lead and be in control. But that's not to say, like we don't have to be to the extreme. Again, I'm all about balance. Maybe your partner asks you to show them the yoga pose, like show them the yoga pose. But I think a lot of us women, including my past version of myself, is we sometimes seek to prove our worth. Hey, look, I know this. Look how amazing I am.
Right.
Love
I think
me.
the energy of what you're coming about is what you're getting at. Like if you're coming at it from like, look at me, I'm so amazing. This is why you're going to love me because I can teach you this thing, versus like, okay, have this knowledge. It can help you in this moment, but we don't have to go all the way into it all the time because it can change the dynamics of the relationship and like what. And really, I think it comes down to like, how do you feel? Like if you feel like you giving that to that person, whether it's partner or a friend, if you're feeling like you're able to receive equally, that it's fine. It's different when you feel like it's draining you and you're not getting anything back. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sure if you're listening to this, can you think of a time where maybe you're giving to a friend, a family member, and just giving, and giving, and all of a sudden you're saying, I feel drained. I feel not valued. I don't feel appreciated because, well, one, you probably are giving from a place of lack and scarcity of like, let me help this person because, yeah, I love them. But actually, you're trying to receive some sort of validation. And so when we give, it's important that we are then allowing ourselves to receive. Most of the times you're giving and you feel a lack, and that's because you're not getting that validation. So it's important when you are giving to ask yourself, okay, well, why is this important to give? Yeah, but I want to help this person. I love them. But what are you also looking to receive from that as well?
Yeah, that's very true. We coach Pilates instructors on their business, and we talk about how like if they are feeling resentment from their clients, it's because there's a lack, there's a discrepancy in what they're charging versus what they're giving. So they are giving more than they are receiving in exchange with money. And the only reason it can be money is because this person cannot teach you back. Like
Yeah.
it's not a barter system. This is a client. And the only way your energy gets refilled is if the exchange is equal value. So,
Yeah.
so I love that you pointed out, it's like whatever you're giving, that's great. But before you give it, it's like having an idea of what you expect to receive in return. What a brilliant thing, because it allows you to measure if it's the right relationship of giving. And, you know, like I'm a big fan of like being very generous and like and giving what you can, all this stuff, but also there you do need to have like a measuring tool of like the receiving of that, if that is a great place for you to be giving, or can you be giving somewhere else. So really cool. Okay, Mary, you know, you shared like the journey of you living in Vegas and like kind of figuring out what you're doing and like stepping into this coaching role and what you're doing. What are you most excited about right now? Because I know that you are someone who is always growing. And
Yeah.
so what's the most exciting thing that you're being right now?
Oh, okay. I love this question. So I'm going to share with you, 2 weeks ago, I was at a retreat and it completely changed my life. And something so simple was one of the speakers, he talked about what are your dreams? And he had us write down our dreams. And I started crying because I realized my dreams are really big and I don't talk about them enough. So
Mm.
I'm going to share with you some of the things that I wrote down because I know they are going to happen. But I also had a realization the next day is, oh, the reason I don't actually share or talk about my dreams is because I am a go-getter. And if I share or talk about it, then that means I'm going to have to think of a way and a plan and an action to get there. But if I'm coming from my heart, then I'm coming that I will trust that things I will take the right actions and it will unfold in time. So what I am working on is, well, I'm going to speak my manifestations, my dreams is becoming a best-selling author,
Mm.
is getting my podcast impact millions, is being a world-renowned speaker, is starting a nonprofit for animal rescue, is to surf at amazing surf spots, eat amazing vegetarian meals, help my family financially, and there's more. But so the reason I'm sharing that is because I invite you to open up within yourselves and start to speak about, okay,
Mm.
these things scary and far away, but that's what I'm working on. And then on a smaller scale, just making as much impact as possible, providing as much value as I can, being of service, and really continuing to be vulnerable with myself. One of the best feelings is when someone comes to me and they're like, I've never shared this with anyone. And it's deep and you can tell that they finally are starting to release it and tap into freedom. And to me, that's one of the most fulfilling things about what I do. My energy allows people to do that because I do that for myself. So
Mm.
that's what I'm working towards.
That's super fun. I like that you shared that, because I do think a lot of people don't share their dreams.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
really
And
funny, like when you do say them out loud, like people like the whether you want to think about the universe conspiring this way, it does conspire for you. Like it does make
yeah.
it happen, you know? So like anytime I've ever said the dream actually out loud to people, like
Yes.
not just to my like my husband, but like to like actual like random strangers, it has all come true.
Yes.
It's all managed to make itself happen. And I don't know that I could recreate it if I wanted to. So like I think that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's really a lot of fun, and I do think all of those things will happen. I hope, especially the rescue, the animal rescue.
Yeah.
So most people can't follow other like rescue dog things on social. I follow all of them in Las Vegas. I follow all of them. I heart all of them. I leave comments. I share all the time. Like I cannot have any more dogs because we currently have 3. And we promised
Oh,
ourselves to be a 2-dog household when one of ours passes. She's 14, so don't like. I'm not being dark. She's just older, and it's gonna happen, guys. So we're like, we're gonna do 2, but oh my god, there was this like cutie yesterday, and I'm like, I just need a rescue. It's really what I need. I need a place where I could just put all these dogs.
yeah.
So yeah, so I hope that happens. Okay, we're gonna take a brief break, and we're gonna find out where people can find you, follow you, work with you, listen to your podcast, all those things. Okay, Mary. So you work with people on and embodying their feminine energy. How do they find you? Where can they get the best information? What do you got for us?
Yeah. So I'm over on Instagram at MaryMC4. If you go on my Instagram and right immediately in my bio, there's a quiz, a free quiz, which is, do you lead with your feminine energy or do you lead with your masculine energy? Because maybe you're listening to this and you're like, this sparks something within me. And I love this quiz because depending on what you get, the quiz is going to show you, okay, maybe you lead with your masculine energy. How does that benefit you? Because it does. And then the areas of what I call the areas of improvement. Okay, how can I start to trust a little bit more? How can I start to shift into my feminine energy? So this quiz is going to help you identify that. So definitely go check it out. And, if you feel called to share your results with me, send me a message. I would love to hear what you get.
Awesome. And your podcast is the True Vibe podcast.
Yes, living your true vibe.
Living your true vibe. You guys, it's really great. I really have enjoyed the episodes I've listened to. So lots of little takeaways and nuggets. I am curious. I just started the one where you cut your leg open. So I'm a little bit nervous. Like, how did your leg heal?
Oh, girl. Yeah, that's been a journey. Check that out, guys. And this is real time. I'm currently still healing. I cut my leg open on a retreat in Mexico. Literally cut it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's I joked. We were going off to lead our retreat in Cambodia. We were getting some of the shots just because when you travel a lot, like I'm like, I don't want the flu. I'm not here to get COVID while I have to teach. And I was like, oh, I'm due for my tetanus. And the woman goes, I don't recommend you get them all 3 today. I recommend you get 2 and then come back for the other one. We didn't come back for our tetanus shot. And I remember Brad slipped. He almost couldn't slip. I'm like, is that metal? Because we didn't do our tetanus shot. Don't hurt yourself. It was this, I was fearing anything with metal because I was like, oh my God, we have outdated tetanus. So I there's a lot of fear around cutting. So I hope you're healing quickly. Okay, before I let you go, bold, executable, intrinsic targeted steps you can take to be it till you see it. What do you have for us?
I shared with you, I feel called in this moment. I have a bunch, but I feel called in this moment. I know there's someone out there that maybe when I spoke my dreams and they're big and might seem scary. For today, I invite you to think about what is something that you've been craving. Maybe it's food, but what is your soul craving? Something specific. Maybe you've been wanting to go for a walk. Maybe you've been wanting to check out a new spot. Maybe you've been wanting to get dressed up and take yourself out. What are you not doing that you've been avoiding? And I invite you to go do that. Go on Instagram Live and do the thing, because then the next piece in that is understand what you will be working through. You might be working through some discomfort, some getting outside your comfort zone. Going live, you might be working on getting through those insecurities. So where are you holding yourself back? A quick example of this, I just had a client text me this morning because her YouTube video is going viral. She went from 100 YouTube subscribers to 2,000 overnight. And
cool.
She almost didn't post that video that she made. And I was like, well, why are you not going to post it? She's like, I feel really insecure. I'm like, that's exactly why you need to post it. And just by her getting over that insecurity, I'm not saying you're going to go viral overnight, but after she posted it, I'm like, how do you feel? She's like, I feel free, because you're no longer letting your insecurities hold you back. So where in your life today can you do something that you're avoiding? And ask yourself this is really important. How will you know you are successful? So I asked her that, how will you know you've been successful when you posted this YouTube video? Well, I won't feel afraid. I'll feel good about it. She posted it, and instead of being insecure because we worked through it, she felt excited. So how will you know you've been successful? And if you need to dive deeper, what does success mean to you? Because you might say, well, if I reach out to that person who's been on my mind about being a client, I know I'll be successful. And that success is for you. I invite you to say that success is you getting outside your comfort zone. So that's my steps.
Super cool. I also like figuring out, I like that her version of success wasn't like, I'll get 2,000 subscribers. It was how she would feel. And I think that's that's a really great takeaway. This is really fun. Thank you, Mary, so much for having us here. Y'all, how are you going to use these tips in your life? Make sure you tag Mary, tag the Beit Pod, share this with a friend who needs to hear it, because there's some nuggets in here that maybe someone in your life has just been nagging at and just overdoing things. And maybe they just need reminded that there's a lot of places they can lead from. It doesn't have to be from the doing. So thank you, Mary. And until next time, y'all, be it till you see it. That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.